What if I told you that Shakespeare's Love's Labour's Lost and Much Ado About Nothing weren't just two plays, but chapters in the same story? I'm not talking about some obscure theory here. This is a real production that's stitching them together across the backdrop of World War II. And honestly, it's one of the most fascinating takes on Shakespeare I've seen in years. Let me explain why this matters. These plays are usually treated as standalone comedies, but by linking them to the chaos of war, the director is forcing us to confront how love and ego collide in the darkest of times. It's not just clever, it's emotionally devastating in a way you don't get when you watch them separately. Now, here's what really grabs me, the idea that Shakespeare's characters are living through a war. Think about it, Love's Labour's Lost starts in 1939, right before the war erupts. The prince and his scholars vow to avoid women, but of course, their resolve crumbles instantly. It's hilarious, but it's also a metaphor for how quickly plans go sideways when the world is about to implode. Then, Much Ado picks up after the war, and suddenly the tone shifts. The set becomes ruined, the mood darker, and the humor feels more desperate. This isn't just a gimmick, it's a masterstroke of storytelling. The war isn't just a setting, it's the emotional core of the entire production. And let's talk about the actors. Sarah Gobran's Leonetta and Phoebe Pryce's Beatrice are razor-sharp, constantly dismantling the man's ego with dry wit. It's like watching a tennis match where the women are serving the aces. James Sheldon's Benedict is charming but flawed, which makes his transformation in Much Ado feel earned. But here's the thing, I think the real genius is how the director uses the war to deepen the characters' motivations. When you see Longueville taking on Don John's role as a villain, it's not just a plot device, it's a commentary on how trauma can warp people's choices. The set design is simple, but that's part of the point. A wooden swing, a bar, and some flowers, these are the remnants of a world before the war. And then, when the set collapses in Much Ado, it's like watching the characters' lives fall apart too. The lighting becomes more intimate, the pace faster, and the jokes darker. It's a visual metaphor for how war strips away pretense. But here's what I find most interesting, the theory that Much Ado is a sequel to Love's Labour's Lost is almost certainly wrong. Scholars have debunked it for decades. Yet, in this production, it feels so right. Why? Because the director isn't just connecting the plays, he's connecting us to the human condition. Love, ego, and the lies we tell ourselves to survive, these aren't just Shakespearean themes. They are universal. And when you frame them against the backdrop of a world at war, it makes you wonder, what would we do if we were in their shoes? So, what does this mean for Shakespeare today? It means that these plays aren't just relics of the past, they're living, breathing stories that can be reshaped to reflect our world. And if this production is any indication, the future of Shakespeare is in the hands of directors who aren't afraid to reimagine his work. The question is, will we watch closely enough to see what they're trying to show us?